And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port here on a Monday. The Barnes and Tony endeavor once again. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great today, man. Pretty stoked. Obviously, huge Monday here. I can't believe it's already almost the middle of September. It is the middle of September, actually. Kind of nuts. But week 2, dude, what a recap. The Jets. Talk some Mets, obviously, too. And yeah, dude.
Did the 2 out of the 3 with the Mets, did that take away from the Jet win it all? Or because Atlanta lost 2 out of 3, you're right there, you're not like that tight?
No, I did take away from the Jets, I think, too. It's actually, bit. I think overall, honestly, bad feeling right now, honestly. Like
so
over like, even with the Jets,
so
too, to be honest.
What's running through your head is like, here we go type of thing?
A little bit, dude. I don't know if you heard, too, Lindor.
Yes, what's the deal?
Well, we're back. MRI today. But he left the game on he didn't play on Saturday, left the game on Sunday.
Okay.
So we did get some Angel, but still Lindor, we're back. That's like the heart. That's the heart and soul of the team right now, dude. He's your everything. So
did it look bad? Did you see any?
No. It was he talked about it after the game too. It's been lower back tightness, something that's been bothering him for quite some time, trying to play through it, obviously. But clearly at this point on Friday or after Friday, it just was bad enough for him to mention something out of the lineup. Sunday tried, didn't. So, that the whole Sunday tried to come back and then couldn't handle it. Obviously it's cause for some concern enough for the team to get an MRI. So we'll see. Yeah. I'm nervous.
Bated breath, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, dude. And we'll get into the Jets too, because there's a lot to talk about there that's wrong. So
yeah, but you know what's right? The Yankees 3 out of 4. Love to see it. Great time on Friday, and we'll get to the baseball recap in a second. But an amazing evening there.
Yes, Tony.
Me and Matt, and then we met up with Lonnie and Alan in the bleachers. In roughly, I guess, left center field. But the feeling of being there when Judge hit that grand slam, especially a game where you were down 4-0, thought it was over, and it was crazy too. So leading up to that, it's 4-0 tight. I was gonna wait till the 7th inning, get some ice cream. And I was like, you know what? Before the 7th inning stretch, I guess it was the top bottom of the 7th, whatever. We get up, wait in line, and then we're eating it, at the top of the steps by the bleachers. And his cousin actually was there, and he was gonna go meet up with him. And he's like, I'm like, do you want to just go down in the seats? Because they had gotten one guy on. Mm-hmm. So then he's like, oh, well, he's not ready yet, but I'm gonna have to come back up when he comes by. Mm-hmm. So we go down 2 batters ahead of when Judge hits the grand slam. So I'm saying, thank God we went down. We're there for it. And the feeling was just unbelievable. So loud, as loud as it would sound for a playoff game when he hit that grand slam. It was absolutely God, so ridiculous. Awesome. So you love that, especially when you were really feeling this is not looking good to come back and win in that fashion. Of course, against the Reds always makes it better. And then, before that, Arthur Ave, Enzo's, Tony sitting outside, had some great stuff. I think you would like it. I'm kind of questioning this one thing just because I don't know where you are with figs, but we had a flatbread with prosciutto, fig. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. That was one of the appetizers that we got.
I do like fig jelly, fig pudding. Let's go. I'm down with the figs. Fig Newtons are all right.
And then I think it was the hot antipasto and this lobster salad with like Russian dressing and avocado. I know avocado, yes, Tony, but the lobster was so good. But all I was saying is amazing meal at Enzo's. And then I got first time in a while, because you know how like you have like an Italian dish you like, you kind of get it a couple times. So you
of course.
Like, okay, let's get to something else. I didn't really got it in a while. Got the cavatelli with broccoli rabe sausage, oil and garlic.
Nice, dude.
And the way that they did the sauce, like just so good. Because you know how too sometimes cavatelli can be too doughy.
Yeah, of course, it's thick.
This like perfect. Like I think they do all their pasta homemade.
Oh wow!
And then the creme brulee to finish it off with the cappuccino.
Should have went affogato.
It was thinking about it, honestly. But the creme brulee was really good.
I love cavatelli. I love that pasta. It's a good pasta.
It is. So yeah, that was a great meal, great game. Like I said,
great people.
Great people. Yeah, great people for sure. Yeah, so just wanted to get that out there. Like I said, we'll talk about baseball in a sec, but let's get to a couple comments.
That's right, dude. A couple to start off our morning here on this nice Monday. Josh B says, yo, fam, let's have a week. Yanks with the thumbs up. Jets with the thumbs up, too. LFG, he says, hashtag TCA, hashtag sportsboard, hashtag DTV.
Let's go, Josh. And I know Josh is riled because, and that's a good segue to what Kev says here, me and Josh meeting in the semifinals for fantasy baseball. And how about the Battle of Anthony's?
Let's
Brander
go, baby.
Versus Material in the other semifinal matchup.
And then
told you it wasn't over,
dude.
Tony.
It wasn't. I know.
You were at the diner wild card game, but I said,
oh my God,
just be careful there.
I know. Had a couple, good pickups here. Eugenio Suarez has been solid. Alvarez had a big home run over the weekend as well. But Kev Dew, unfortunately, like Brian said, at the expense of Kev Dew, Brian has advanced. Kev Dew here with the Let's Go. We want the smoke. Great playoff match, Barnes. Congrats, taking the high road here. Hashtag TCA.
And honestly, appreciate that, Kev Dew. And it really was a battle. I was down 8-6, going into yesterday. And I had to drop Volpe and Michael Harris. So something that I wasn't really ready to do. But then again, it's like the way Volpe's been hitting the last couple of months, probably okay to let him go. I was just thinking stolen bases, but I have some other guys. So Harris, too, was like kind of a stud going into the year. Really, injury, and then hasn't been great. So had to let him go. But then had two good pickups today that I'm excited about. James Wood on the Nationals.
Nice.
So unfortunately, if he does well, that will come at the expense of the Mets. But he looks pretty good. He had the 2-home run game yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm excited about him.
He's been someone who's been on and off my team as well. I've been picking him up a couple times. He's been going on some good streaks. So, hey, Youngtown over there. So.
And how funny is it? Josh texted me, I think it was last night, about how we have the battle coming. And then I was like, dude, somehow, who's going to play a role? Luis Arise hit over 400 last week for me against Kev Dew, over 1,000 OPS. So you saw it too. You would have picked him up if I didn't.
Absolutely, dude.
Because the contact rate is great. Obviously, he had gone through something before that, but it seems like he's kind of in mid-season form right now.
Yeah, dude. He looks great. I'm actually really tight that you got him. But what are you gonna do?
Tommy in the building.
What up, fam? He says. Tommy's gonna be happy. I think end of the week we got hockey preseason. I believe Friday, Saturday. I think.
But what a time, Tony! What a time to be alive.
So much great things, man.
And listen, it takes a back seat. We're really not going to spend any time on it, but want to give a proper congratulations to Patton Kaziri, Tony, the grizzled vet. His first victory on the PGA Tour in 6 years, 38 years young. A 5-shot victory over David Lipsky. So Kaziri going 66, 65, 67, and 70 in Napa. And I think that $1.08 million will probably buy him a couple of bottles from your finest vineyards out there. Huh, Tony?
Yeah, dude, I think so. Obviously, like you said, big congrats to him. 20 under, pretty impressive. And obviously someone who was off of our radars. So good job.
Yeah, that's a great job. And then the Gala in his title defense here, 8 shots back, 12 under par. So, one of those things where, he played pretty well, but, of course, with Kaziri going 20 under, hard to beat him there. So a good first event of the fall. Next up is going to be the President's Cup. And I believe, so we're going to be off this week and then starting next Thursday. So 1 week from this Thursday, we will head to Montreal. Captain Furyk Any type of feel there, Tony? I mean, you think a dominant victory, or are you thinking like,
I
we
mean,
thought that going into Rome, and then we saw what happens?
Yeah, no, you are right, but I still think I'm gonna still hammer. Let's go USA. Let's go, dude. I mean, on paper, and I think all those guys this year have been dominant, like consistently. So, like, come on, dude. Scotty, Xander, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, two
golfers.
future pro golf Hall of Fame Hall of Famers. I mean, I think. Especially the season that Scotty had. I mean, that's literally one of the legendary seasons on the PGA Tour ever.
Literally. And what it's like, it's Team Europe, right?
International. So no Europe. Everybody
so no
but Europe.
So like, oh, that's right. It's right because Jason Day is on it, dude. Yeah, give me a break.
Yeah, Tom Kim. Who was the other Aussie?
Is Aaron
Scott?
Aaron Rye?
I don't know if Rye made it.
It was definitely an Englishman.
Taylor Pendrith, I believe, was on there, and Corey Connors, right?
Yeah. Corey Connors, Canadians, is right, dude.
Captain Weir.
See, like that, there's just no juice right there, dude. Like, I don't know.
No, I can't. I'm excited to just see what like the course looks like. Honestly, fun to do that.
Oh yeah, of course, dude.
And speaking of course, I was riled actually on Saturday. Played with Ree. Still haven't worked out the drivers, so didn't use it. Only are using it really for tournaments.
Wow, okay.
But went 43-43 and had a birdie on the front and the back, including Tony. I would say about a putt that was 17 feet, and the first 6 of it were off the green. So like from the fringe.
Oh, wow.
Sunk it for birds.
Okay.
So for that. So good to have a solid round out there, as the season seems like it's wrapping up so quickly. We got our tournament coming up.
I know, dude. I really am.
8 days away.
Wow, dude. Let's freaking go. I know.
Yeah.
I gotta hit the range.
Yeah.
I was asked to play golf on Sunday morning at like 6:45.
Were you hammered on Saturday?
I mean, yeah, obviously. It's just like, Sunday, a little day of rest,
Late night
the laundry. Not too late, but yeah, dude. And we had, I was working the football game too. So like all day I was out in the sun, dude.
Yeah.
It was so freaking hot.
Fairchild's?
Yeah. Which again would have been easy and would have been so much fun, I'm sure. And then obviously he's like, oh, it works out because like 6:45, you get back, you get the games going on. But it would have been too much.
Yeah.
To get up and go the 18.
Yeah. You know what was perfect? 2 weeks ago, I did an 8:50.
Sunday morning?
Got back, and right down the street.
Right.
So got back 10 after 1. So it's like that worked.
Would you have done the 6:45 after like going out on Saturday night?
How many did you have? What time did you go to bed?
I probably went to bed around 1.
Okay, no.
Okay.
That's one of those things like, oh yeah, I'll get up.
Yeah, I know.
You're hammered.
That's why I didn't want to say that and then like bail and then whatever. And I just would have felt bad.
Yeah.
But I was really thinking about it because I was like, oh, what an opportunity that would have been.
I know. But
sorry.
There'll be more.
Yeah,
there'll be more. Speaking of more comments.
That is right, dude. Matthew Gabriel in the house with a big let's go. What a weekend, dude. Matthew Gabriel did offer me a trade, actually, too. AJ Brown and Dalton Kincaid for George Kittle.
And you said no.
I said no. Because AJ Brown ruled out. Yeah, so I was like, I don't know. It seems kind of iffy. And
yeah. No, I hate trading for fantasy because it's like someone, I don't know, and like Matt doesn't do this, but like there are people like that try to like get a deal. Oh yeah, you're gonna get a deal on me, definitely. You're gonna get a deal. Yeah,
like absolutely not, dude. Yeah. I know it is kind of. I mean, although the trade wasn't terrible.
No, not his trade. But I'm saying most of the time, that's
it's like, what are you doing, dude?
I don't feel like wasting my time.
I've also never traded in any fantasy year
That's
ever.
Crazy.
Dude.
I haven't. It's been a while since I've had a trade, and a lot of times too, like someone would be like pushing, this trade. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, well, it doesn't matter for me. This guy's gonna be on my bench. Oh, wait, it ends up winning him the fantasy league.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know.
Exactly. And then, dude, people get fucking tight too. Like, remember back in the day, I had like Logan Couture, my hockey team, and he was injured for a while. People try to trade. Like, and I was like, dude, don't trade to this guy because his team will be too stacked. And then,
oh man,
it's like everyone calm down, dude. What do you got?
No, it was crazy. I was just thinking about this because I have that deep baseball league, and I just lost yesterday in like the second round of the playoffs. Was like made this great comeback. Mackenzie Gore got me all these points, and then of course Jackson Chourio yesterday. He has him and Terang. They both Chourio homers late. Terang has like a double run scored or whatever. So I ended up losing by like 10 or something, and it was just so annoying. But that league, it made me think of it because I have Judge, had him since he was a rookie. So it's like people have tried so hard, and it's like you really think Judge? You really think you're getting Judge for me?
That would be crazy.
Yeah, no way, dude.
Would you do it for Ohtani and Soto?
No.
Really?
It's Judge.
That's kind of crazy.
Nobody would offer that, though, anyway. Nobody would have Soto.
Nobody would have Soto. Speaking of having Soto, Lonnie, dude.
Lonnie.
In the house, GM guys, the Giants are just meh. Yes, they are. Jets pick up a much-needed win, that's for sure. Next up, smoking the Pats, ? Yanks win the series versus the Red Sox.
Let's go.
Mets drop the series out of Philly, bounce back against the Nats, Tony. I mean, obviously, dude, it's not even a question. Hashtag the company, he says. Tommy says Aaron Judge remembered. He's a monster, looking good to me. Obviously, Matthew
100.
Gabriel says, Yanni, dude. Friday was sick. The Judge Granny Stadium was shaking, dude. Lonnie echoed. Friday was freaking awesome. And then Matthew Gabriel, hey, Bonds.
Hey, Bonds. And honestly, what a night Friday. Really can't overemphasize that. And the fact, too, that, Lonnie had the same opportunity as me to catch 2 games like that in 3 days, one being a walk-off, one being a big comeback, Judge Grand Slam against the Red Sox. Like, wow, that's
kind of crazy, dude.
That in this point in the season, too. I mean, we only got a couple of series left for that to happen. The drama, really nothing like being at the ballpark. And of course, especially Yankee Stadium. So yeah, that was awesome. So we'll get to that. But first, Tony, let's go to the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Stop it! Yep. And Alonso cracks one. The Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Drill deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
I think Josh B might have a meeting with corporate because we would have already had a comment about that one. But since we already did it, I guess I'll jump the gun to baseball. Plenty of time to still talk about football. But the Yankees, let's start with Friday. We were in the building. Me, Yanni, Matt, and Alan. What a game that was. And honestly, started out to seem like it was going to be a pitcher's duel. And, last second pitching change before the game, Richard Fitz. So, of course, me and Matthew had a couple chuckles. Dick Fitz, Richard. We kept saying that. And unfortunately, the former Yankee farmhand traded over for Alex Verdugo. Shut the Yankees out. 5 scoreless innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 90 pitches. Clark Schmidt matched him with the 5 innings, but unfortunately, 6th inning, first scoring of the game, makes a mistake to Yoshida. If you remember at the stadium earlier this year, had that home run with the Yankees 1 strike away from winning. Clay Holmes, who else? So that made it 2-0. And the Red Sox, following inning, another 2-run homer. Trevor Story there. So that made it 4-0. Tight. Go get the Carvel. And then, starting that rally in the 7th, and the game completely changed from that point on. So, picking this up here in the bottom of the 7th, Volpe with a leadoff walk, Verdugo with a walk. So you had first and second, nobody out. Glaber, has been pretty good recently with the bat. A single scores Volpe to make it 4-1. Soto walks, so that loads the bases, and they had brought in Cam Boozer to face Soto, and it's so funny how it works where, and I think the Yankees take advantage of this, having Soto before Judge, so a lot of times you will do this, bring the lefty to face Soto, but then you have to have a lefty-righty against Judge, and obviously no one matches up well against Judge, but anyway, Judge with the homer to left, 369 feet, gave the Yankees a 5-4 lead. The grand slam, the stadium going nuts. That was awesome. The curtain call. So that gave the Yankees a 5-4 lead. And, the offense, Chisholm did single there in the, after that, but he was caught stealing. So Yankees, no more runs there, made it 5-4. Luke Weaver works around a single to strike out. Actually struck out the side, struck out O'Neill, Wong, and Abreu. Yoshida with the single in between. Yankees don't get anything in the bottom of the 8th. And then in the 9th, Luke Weaver, electric. And there was a question there. He had 20 pitches going into the 9th. Will they bring him out for a second inning? Is Canely going to come into the game? But they leave Weaver in there. He strikes out 2 of the 3 batters in that top of the 9th inning, including Rafaela to end the game. He was going nuts, and it really seems like, Tony, the Yankees have found their closer in Luke Weaver.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I got to be pretty hyped. I don't want to say I called it, but I may have called it. But yeah, I mean, you got to be excited. That guy brings a lot to the table. Obviously good pitching, but also his energy. I could be wrong, but he seems like a great bullpen guy, dude. Renee in the house. So yeah, dude, I mean, you got to be excited about that, right? Any trepidation at all? Or are you totally all in with Weaver?
Oh yeah, all in.
Yeah.
And it's just, it goes back to announcing, to players, to anything. There's just nothing like when people are inspired, jacked up, really appreciating the moment. And I think Luke Weaver doesn't take anything for granted due to his struggles to start his major league career. And here he is thriving with the Yankees when you think about it, not even 2 years ago, or really like barely over a year ago, it was a question of like, how much longer is this guy going to stick around in the major leagues? Just was not finding success. 6 ERA, designated for assignment a couple times. And here he is, the closer of the New York Yankees, closing in on a pennant.
So what do you think? You give a lot of credit to the Yankees pitching staff?
I mean, it seems like they do this a lot.
They do.
Obviously, there's examples of guys that don't work out, like Mark Leiter. I mean, after this game especially, I mean, it's like, how do you do that? But they've done a good job with these guys. So, Ian Hamilton, another example, he's pitched well since coming back for injury. So I love that we have Weaver there in closer. We don't have to sweat out Holmes. And the fact that it can go multiple innings, that's great. So, on to Saturday, unfortunately, not much to really touch on there. 7-1 loss. Cole, I think it was the second most runs he's given up in his career. 7 earned over 4 1/3, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Had some hit batsmen as well. Just didn't have it. The offense stifled, only 1 run, 5 hits. And the only run there, a Glaber RBI. So, it was unfortunate, but you had 2 games of this series. So it's set up, the proverbial, I guess, somewhat rubber game. Obviously, if the Red Sox had won yesterday, it would have been a tied series, but the Yankees get the job done 5-2 over the Red Sox. So winning 3 out of 4, winning the season series as well, which you love to do. Carlos Rodon, 5 1/3. 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and I believe a career high 15th victory. So you love to see that out of Rodon. And really just made the one mistake. Tyler O'Neill, 2-run homer in the 4th. Other than that, it was all Yankees. Stanton with a RBI double in the 2nd, scoring Jazz, made it 1-0. Glaber's homer in the 3rd, made it 2-0. So all of a sudden, Glaber really has heated up over these past, 4 to 6 weeks, I guess you could say. And that was his 14th of the year. Judge homers in the 3rd to make it 4-0, a bomb to center 445 feet. So now 53 home runs for Judge on the season and a career high 132 RBIs. We mentioned the O'Neill homer, which made it 4-2. Stanton with an insurance run on a sac fly in the 7th made it 5-2. And Yankee bullpen coming through again, Tony. Following Rodon, they got 4 2/3 scoreless, giving up 2 hits, striking out 2, walking 1. I mean, that's a pretty good performance, combined from Hamilton, Hill, Holmes, Cousins, and Tommy Kahnle, who picked up the first save of the season.
Wow.
And it's nice, too, that, when Weaver's unavailable, you can go to Kahnle, and Cousins, typically you can. He was a little shaky, only threw 11 pitches, 6 out of the zone. So he got the hook, and then Kahnle getting the double play to end the game. But 87 up, 63 down, 3-game lead over Baltimore after they lost 4-2 yesterday. So right where you want to be, driver's seat. Day off today, and then a West Coast trip to finish out the road schedule here against Seattle and then Oakland. So the Swan Song at the Coliseum there. And then return home. And then you got the Orioles, and who knows if the division will still be up for grabs at that point, but 3 against the Orioles, 3 against the Pirates, and then it is time for October, Tony. So
It's like that.
Just like that. And when we get underway on Tuesday, it will be Heel versus Woo. So all in all, listen, there's been some struggles this season, but I think it's hard to argue with, having the best record in the American League at the moment. the Yankees are exactly where they need to be right now.
Yes, no, they certainly are. And listen, when we spoke about it, winning 4 games, sweeping a team in 4 games is really
Crazy.
tough. To win 3 out of 4 is phenomenal. And the Orioles are continuing to not play that great.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what you needed to do this weekend. So you kind of want to brush off that loss, obviously. But I will ask you, I mean, a big storyline, just because of obviously just how well the Yankees have been doing. You want to look at one thing that was bad, like Garrett Cole, not a great start. Walking Devers intentionally, actually, right, was definitely a perplexing move, I would say. But apparently something that Boone and Wells and him talked about prior to the game. But I mean, what do you think about that decision? What do you think about his start? Like, are you worried a little bit?
No, not worried. For whatever reason, you look at it historically in his career, just hasn't pitched well against Boston. And it's like, well, they're not going to be in the playoffs, so we don't have to worry about that again.
Right.
So I think it's as simple as that. Obviously next year when you would assume the Red Sox would have to be somewhat better, maybe have a chance to make the playoffs, you hope you can turn that around, and sure you'll, look at some tape and, that Duran and Devers, will be back there next season. So that's really all I would take away from it. It's just about him being healthy for the postseason. And it just seems like he takes his game to a whole nother level when it's October. So full confidence in Cole. And
so game 1 starter.
I mean, yeah, it's not even.
What if it was like a 1-game playoff?
Sorry, whatever scenario you want to say, there's not even a thought.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, that's everybody knows that too. I mean, it's like
everybody knows it. No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking to ask.
I don't know, Tony. I think you're better than that, honestly. Asking that type of question. I mean, who would be the game 1 starter over Cole?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, that's the point. There isn't another option. And especially, you're asking me this question when really you look at his numbers. Sure, I guess Washington was okay, but really his last bad start came against the Mets, on July 24th. So August, he had a 1.93 ERA. Previous 2 starts, 6 innings, 2 runs or less. Nothing to worry about. Cole's locked and ready to go. Game 1 of the postseason. You already knew it. You're cheesing. So yeah, kind of crazy question though. Really,
it wasn't that crazy.
Anyhow, so I believe is it now? I know Mets, of course, lose the 2 out of 3, but same scenario where they were when we went home for the weekend, or no?
I guess technically they were up a game on the Braves.
They were.
Yeah. So now they're tied.
Okay.
So they're tied for the wild card again. Of course, as of now, Mets tiebreaker scenario. But if you want to recap the weekend here, again, just
brushing over it.
Okay. I mean, I guess we could.
No, it seemed
we could brush over it.
It seemed like you were going to say that. That's why the only reason I said.
Well, because again, obviously, listen, we're in a great position here. Playing the Nationals too. Job needs to get done, but there's just obviously there's doubts. There's some stomach pains, I could say. But starting with Friday, Lindor, of course. But starting with Friday here, the Quintana start against Aaron Nola. This was phenomenal. It was actually a great game here in the 11-3 victory. Dominant start by Jose Quintana. 7 innings, 3 hits, no walks, no earned runs, only the 4 Ks. And it was funny because I was much like one of your, I guess, roommates scenario this weekend. I was in a place where this game was not being streamed or televised or anything like that, which is fine. I had updates on my phone, little peaks here.
Like the kind of trying to keep it quiet. Yeah.
Well, we were at a concert Friday night, so it was like
right. I forgot about that.
After Michael received his award, so congrats to him.
Yes, congrats to Michael.
Excellence Award, which was huge, and then obviously the celebration that ensued. But regardless, had updates, and it was great to see. I think I saw they were up 3-0, 6-0. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Quintana pitching really well. Scoring started middle of the game here, top of the 5th, as the pitching matchup really ensued. But Alvarez started it off, which was great. Started him a 3-run blast at top of the 5th off of Aaron Nola, which was pretty freaking awesome, dude. And then right after that, back-to-back, Nimmo, not back-to-back, but same inning, Nimmo also with the 3-run blast. And after that, Aaron Nola got pulled. It was obviously at that point, he was kind of cooked. 90 pitches, giving up hits, struggling with accuracy. I believe that both of his walks came in that inning as well. So they pull him, and which is kind of unlike him. I haven't seen him honestly get popped in an inning like that. I don't think this year. But nonetheless, his final line, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, the 7 Ks. Again, up until that point, it looked like he was going to have a dominant start, close to what Quintana had. But the scoring didn't end there, dude. Top of the 6 just the inning later. RBI double out of Lindor. Bader was on base. Lindor did get thrown out trying to stretch that double into a triple, which is interesting because, again, you think about his back thing now. But regardless, you're up 7-0 come the 7th inning. And then by the time the 8th inning rolls around, you had Bader with a 3-run blast, making it 10-0. Alonso, a solo shot in the 9th. You were shutting out the Phillies come the 9th inning, 11-0, which was pretty crazy. The bats were on absolute fire. Clemens and Gilbert didn't really do much. Lazar out of the bullpen too for the Phillies. Just the Mets bats were totally hot, dude. Everyone in the lineup that started had a hit. So, wow. I mean, really super impressive. I mentioned Quintana going 7 innings. Matone came in the 8th. 3 up, 3 down scenario. I think he only had 1 K, but regardless, got the job done. And then you had Young come in for the 9th. I guess you could say things looked a little rocky. This is not Danny Young. This is Alex Young, 31-year-old left of the pen. Not like a ton of innings pitched this year, but regardless, he gave up 3 runs, did get through the inning. Obviously, Mendoza wasn't going to waste another pitcher. He was kind of riding him out. Does get him out. It was Marsh with the 3-run blast in the 9th. But like I said, game's over, 11-3. Love to see that on to, the next 2 games, which weren't really, I guess, as good as the first one. The 6-4 loss on Saturday. That's right. The Bryce Harper 2 home runs.
I thought you were saying wasn't that good.
I don't think I said the word he wasn't that good.
What did you say?
I think bad career moves, kind of a prick, prima donna.
Bad career moves in terms that you're saying,
I think honestly,
the Philly?
Yeah, dude.
I really don't get that though. I mean, he's been to the World Series,
right?
And the NLCS the other year,
mm-hmm.
And then they have a chance to go to the World Series this year. Like, why is that a bad move?
I don't know. I think. Well, I do know. I think if he stuck with Washington, I think Washington as a whole would be better, to be honest.
I mean, the way that organization has fallen apart, I mean, listen, I know he hasn't been there, but they had other talent and they didn't do the right stuff with it. And that's where they are. I mean, now I guess eventually they'll be better.
They're going to be. I mean, I think, the whole Strasburg thing is absolutely crazy, with his health and everything like that. I think, again, Bryce Harper leaving, Soto ended up having to leave at that point because, again, like it just seemed like after Strasburg injured, Harper leaves. I mean, like, what are we doing, dude?
But that's on the organization, and it's like everything's gone pretty nicely for him in Philly. He's playing first now.
Everything has gone nicely for him. But again, I'm thinking again, like you want to talk about if the Yankees have picked him up. I think him sticking around with the Nationals, winning a World Series there, I think things would be looking better for him, dude.
I just can't tell for you.
And honestly, do you think the Phillies are winning the World Series this year? Probably not. I don't think they could.
I think they might get to the World Series. And I think I'm just confused here with this take for you. If it's more, it's just like, I know you would still be going against him if it was with Washington.
Right.
But I don't know if it's more that for you or like the old, like, get off my lawn. You're brought up in an organization. You have to stay there. You can't leave in free agency.
Get off my lawn.
It's one of the two. Which one is it? You tell me.
No, I don't feel that way necessarily.
It doesn't bother you when he I mean, of course, anybody's going to bother you, but I'm saying like extra because it's him, it's the Phillies. You're tired of seeing it. That's what's prompting these comments, or no?
I would not say it's prompting these comments. Does it bother me that it's him hitting these home runs? Yeah, but I wouldn't say I'm the type of guy who'd be like, oh, if you're come up in the organization, you have to stay there no matter what. I think there's circumstances there. Obviously, it's nice if this organization, worked on you, developed you, put time, effort, money into you, that you should stick around. But I think regardless from that idea, I just actually think that he was a little too trigger happy of leaving the Nationals. And I think that World Series, what was it, 2 years after he left?
Or 3?
3?
Because it was his first year in Philly, 2018, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I just think a little too slap happy. Nonetheless, here about the Mets, dude. Obviously pretty tough. I mean, you can't really like blame, I guess, the offense. They scored 4 runs. Maybe you could, dude, because honestly, they use like I guess a bullpen game. I don't know much about this guy Allard, to be honest. Colby Allard, 27-year-old lefty from California. I guess he won bats this year. I guess has been getting starts recently. Comes out of the pen a couple times. Must be like a a two-way player almost. But Taijuan Walker comes in for 3 innings, dude. Doesn't even have a fucking hit, and that guy should get tattooed.
Michael
honestly.
Walker 2.0.
No.
He's been
he's
bad
not
this year,
good.
right?
He's been horrible this year.
Yeah.
But again, like,
you think it would be better if Harper wasn't on the team?
what the hell was that supposed to be?
I'm just kidding.
That's
It was
ridiculous
to
That's
say
ridiculous.
about Harper, bad career decision. I don't know.
I mean, time will tell. Time will tell.
It just
And right now, it's been telling that it is.
But I think it's like you're just assuming that they would have won the year after he left with him, and it's like I feel like you're just very underplaying the fact that it's like Soto would have not been allowed to be Soto with Harper on the team.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think
but
you're
that's
wrong,
the only
though.
reason he was called up, though. Literally, it was the only reason.
But you're telling me they would not have called up eventually?
He didn't even start this season with the team with Harper not on the team.
I know.
I
know that, but he would have been called up anyway. Like you tell me he would not have been called up. The Nationals would have traded him from the minors? But there's no way, dude.
I don't know. It seems like you're just nervous that he's gonna win one with Philly here.
I don't know if it's so. He was just in the World Series. Like what what do you mean?
But also, like, I guess is he that much more annoying doing damage against the Mets with Philly than he is with Washington? Like,
it's not about that.
I feel like, though, but isn't the Phillies, because I think it is, right? The team you don't like the most in the East?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So I'm saying it's like,
but it's not about that.
But it's just that, like, you think he could have had some like dynasty in Washington? You really
I said that then. I said that when the Nationals won the World Series, and I'm still saying that. So it's like I'm not saying that because of just right now he's in 2 home runs against against the Mets. Like, I've been saying that. I think that was stupid of him to leave.
But I'm saying, because you think a Nats dynasty, really, with that front office, Dave Martinez,
I think
Strasburg.
He may not be on the Nationals still now, but he would be sitting at home with a World Series under his belt. Like, that's what I'm saying.
But also, I'm saying you don't think possibly he left too because there was like, maybe like he didn't love everybody in the clubhouse, vice versa, and that like kind of
probably
the locker room when he left, and Soto could come up, young guy, good energy. Like, it's a completely different team with him.
Do I think the Nats were better off without him? Is that what you just asked me?
Possibly in the clubhouse.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, we know about his clubhouse issues.
Clown question, bro.
The whole Girardi thing, too.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, they seem... I think that even though Harper is kind of a prima donna, it does seem like they're doing better. I mean, they are doing better without Girardi. So it's like, was it him as much as Girardi?
But I'm saying in the Washington clubhouse, I think it's just like it might have caused some rifts with people.
I don't know. I don't remember hearing anything about that then, But then again, you never know. But still, I mean, it didn't seem like he was. I feel like if Harper did have issues with the guys in the clubhouse or the manager, he would be outspoken about it like he was with Girardi.
Right. And
so
then Robbie Thompson, the players guy, obviously there's no problem now. But
anyway, dude, Mets 6-4 loss. We'll scrape over that one because obviously, and again, I guess instead of scraping over that, you could mention Acuna first start, 2 for 4, looked great. Shortstop, defense, good. Obviously, the Lindor out, lower back strain. You're like, oh man, whatever. And then you're like, wait a minute, back in the lineup Sunday. Totally fine. Maybe needed a rest day. Tough schedule. They don't get as many off days like the Yankees do. But regardless,
everybody has the same amount of off days, 162 games.
But they're different.
Right, but you just said as many off days. You didn't say right now. You said as many off days, which everybody has equal off days.
Mets don't have as many off days right now as the Yankees do in this tough stretch. Whatever. Most important time. Lindor comes back. Can't handle it. Only gets one at bat back. Obviously bothering him. Acuna comes in 0 for 3. Kind of falls a little flat there. But nonetheless, I mean, he's super young. It's his second start. Doesn't really matter. Peterson.
Reps.
What?
It's good to get him reps.
Oh, yeah, no, it is
Yeah,
good to get him reps. Obviously,
the
you'd rather have
reason-
Lindor
yeah.
starting anyway. But Peterson comes in here. Literally gives probably the best start of the season.
Putting his hat in the ring for that game 1 starter.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess
Come on,
yes,
what
pitched
the
pretty
hell,
well,
man?
but I still think I don't think the Mets are even going to consider.
Like
it.
you just said that the
Manaea
Phillies
is
are going to be in the
penciled
World Series, and Peterson fans, all of them.
I know, but I still think he's game 2. It's just Manaea has had a really good year.
Okay. So Peterson here, 7 2/3, 4 hits, the 1 earned run coming in that 8th inning. Only 1 walk, the 6 Ks. I mean, again, we've talked about how effective his sinker is in inducing ground outs and stuff like that. So Matone comes in, gets the out, lovely work. Diaz comes in, and by the way, in the meantime, the scoring, there was barely any at all. Taylor had that top of the 8th home run for the first score on the board there in the 8th. Unfortunately, Peterson, who comes out in the 8th, gives it right back. Kennedy RBI double to left to score Wilson. And then bottom of the 9th here, Diaz comes in, gets 2 outs, but unfortunately does give up an RBI single. JT Realmuto brings in Nick Castellanos.
Well, was it a double from Castellanos with 2 outs?
No, I think it was a 1-out double.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like the first 2 batters he retired. It was,
No.
okay.
I want scoring plays. I want all plays.
There you go.
Let's see. Let's go all the way down here. So,
was it a single? Wait, but
oh,
how
the
did
single.
he,
Oh, he stole
Oh,
second. That's right, dude. The throw was late. Yeah.
if he
Actually, no. I'm sorry. Throw was good. Iglesias kind of bobbled it.
So he would have been out if it was a clean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dropped the
Yeah, because
ball.
I think he's slow, Castellanos.
Yeah, he wasn't great, and again, it was close.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think if Iglesias didn't drop the ball, he would have been out. And then after that, Realmuto goes, I think someone's cooking something.
Soup?
I don't know.
Renee?
Soup?
Early for soup.
At
right?
11 in the morning?
Not even. Crazy.
I don't know. It smells fucking good, though. Oh, wait. I think Renee maybe made quiches, dude.
Okay. That makes
It's the
sense.
quiche, dude. So, obviously,
Tough. Now, confidence level same or no?
in
The Mets.
in the Mets in general?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think a lot is revolving around this MRI we're getting back from Lindor today.
Is it like wind out of the sails? It's all over.
I mean, no, it's not all over till it's over. You're playing the Nationals right now. That would be a great time for Lindor to get some rest, if it is just something simple. But I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, I think after the Nationals, I don't know if we have the Phillies next and then the Braves or Braves and Phillies. But regardless, it's a super tough schedule that they have. So, yeah, it's going to hurt a lot if you have Lindor out. And then what? You're going to ask Angel to hit 5 home runs in the next few games?
What if he,
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's
makes his
phenomenal.
mark?
I mean, yeah, that's what you'd be relying on at that point. But again, obviously, wins out of your sails. Lindor is your best player. He's your locker room guy. He's the big reason why you're in this position right now. So I mean, again, you can, if he, God forbid, he's injured, needs to be out for I don't know, however many games, any games at all. You're relying on Acuna. You're relying on Alonso. 2 guys that obviously Acuna brand new. What do we even think? And Alonso, again, solo home runs here and there.
Vientos?
I mean, yeah, you need a lot of guys to pick up slack is what you need.
And it is 3 home against Washington, 4 home against Philly. The old wraparound Thursday to Sunday.
So tough, dude.
And then at Atlanta, at Milwaukee. I mean, that really is as tough as it gets. So you got to hope that Manaea gets the job done, pitches the way he's pitched all year. Michael chirping, saying Tony wishes he was Bryce.
That's not true.
And then Yanni also said, Barnes, what a great game. 2 games to be at my guy. Went from none together to 2 in 1 week. Baseball, what a game. What a time, Tony.
So, yeah, dude, you're definitely uneasy feeling because of your schedule and whatnot. No off day. Obviously, Nationals tonight. So
Irvin has been good at times, not so great at others.
Honestly, the fact that you end the year 2 against Milwaukee is a real punch in the gut, too, because they're great this year.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, again, you need to sweep the Nationals. At that point, you kind of need to. I think Braves have another game against the Dodgers tonight. Max Fried is pitching,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you would imagine he has a good start. Although his last start wasn't good, but again, you would think bounce back. So we'll see what happens. But you need to switch the Nationals. Like that's what you need to do.
Tyler McGill tomorrow.
McGill pitched well his last time out, but again, you kind of still don't know what you're getting from him every time, you know?
Yeah.
So again, uneasy feeling, the MRI results. What are we doing?
Oh, you know what's so funny? So I think you met him. You definitely have met him at like the Super Bowl, but Benny, his wife at work had the option to get free tickets, Yankees or Mets. Yankee games were only during the week. Mets, they had a Friday. So like I said, he doesn't really, and I think growing up actually he was a Mets fan, but that's not why he decided it. So he took the Mets tickets. So they're actually going on Friday against the Phillies. And he was like, "Oh, if you want to get an extra ticket, you go." And I was like, I can't do that, dude. Like I'm Tony. It could be funny just because of me. It's not even a shot. It's just how I am. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You witnessed it twice, Tony.
Yeah, no, I did. It's actually funny. ESPN was giving away tickets to that game. You had to be call number 1.
Wow. So basically, you were saying if you got the tickets, you would have gone.
Yeah. If I asked you a free ticket, would you have gone with me?
Well, actually, it would have. I guess depending on the weather, the day. You know what's tough too? It's like
Friday. It would be Friday.
Yeah, it would be Friday. But the Yankees are playing a late night game in Oakland. Like it's like I'm going to be dialed on that. It'll probably be over after the game's over. So maybe. And by the way, too, I don't know if you knew this. You probably do because you're up with the stuff. Maybe not. But Benny was telling me that you could get the LIRR from Grand Central. So like it's not that complicated because I guess it's only 2 stops after Grand Central to get to Citi Field. So you would just take the train. So there's no Pelham required anymore.
Right. It's interesting. Yeah, we can definitely try that next time. I've never taken the LIR, honestly.
But makes it a lot easier. I guess you were working on that tunnel for a while. But just a little tidbit of information I found. It feels like
you still didn't say yes or no, to be honest.
This
Friday, Brian, let's go.
I guess if I wasn't already doing something, yes. Just only because the Yankees play at 10 o'clock or whatever, so I could watch it on the way back. Pelham late night. Tony, what do you want me to say, dude?
Yeah, Tony, I'd love to do a game with you, dude. It's a great time. Let's go,
Yankee
dude.
Playoffs, dude. I'm in. Let's go. Oh, man. It's a shame they're not going to be on tonight, but we got the football. But anyway, it is time for a full-on abbreviated baseball frenzy. Michael's riled. It's the Yankees. It's the Jets. Let's go.
That is mother jumping right here. Let's go. Let's bring it up. MLB frenzy, baby. Let's get some MLB scores here. It's a beautiful Monday, new week, September 16th. Can't believe we're saying that, dude. But you know the deal. We're about at 7:10 p.m. The Mets, no days off in Queens tonight. The Nats are visiting game 1 of this 3-game set. Irvin Minaya, the wild card, dude. Irvin 10-12, 4.19 ERA. Minaya, game 1 starter for Brian here if he's managing the team. Obviously having a great year, a career year for him. Great record, 11-5, 3.35, keeping it together here down the stretch of the season. 7.5 is your over-under. The Mets are minus 185, which is pretty solid here. And the Mets have dominated the Nationals this year, 8-2 in the regular season series. And you got to echo that. I don't care about Abrams or what's his name that you picked up. James Wood. It's going to be Minaya. Full game shutout, dude. Competing with Peterson for the game 1 start. He's a little nervous to get it, I'm sure. You want to look at the team offensively, for the Nationals. I mean, their numbers just do not add up to what the Mets could do. Alonso should be getting home runs. I mentioned Alvarez. Brian mentioned Vientos. 2 young bucks that should be hammering Irvin tonight, and they will. I think all 3 of those players have home runs. multi-run home runs at that. Give me the over easily. Mets bat hot to start the series here. They score 8 on their own. Give up only none. Mets win 8-0. What do you got, Brian?
Tigers at Royals. Seth Lugo coming off that outstanding start against the Yankees, picking up his 17th victory tonight. That ERA continuing to go down, already under 3 at 2.94. Tigers have been hot, trying to make that late push for the wild card, but Lugo has been unbelievable. Bobby Witt has been unbelievable. Lugo, 7 shutout innings. I think Witt, 4 for 5, 4 RBIs, 4-1 Kansas City Royals in the under.
Love that. Helping my fantasy team with Lugo, and another team that'll help my fantasy team is going to be both the Dodgers and the Braves here. Very interesting game, 7:20 p.m. The 4th game. Max Fried, starter for Tony. I say pitchers duel. Fried Yamamoto, dude. Absolutely phenomenal. Yamamoto, obviously not a ton of innings pitched this year. Nonetheless, what we've seen from him is good. Max Fried definitely on the bounce back. I think pitchers duel here. Both starters flawless through 8. Braves bring out somebody from the bullpen in the 9th inning. Max Fried, pitch count kind of high. Want to save him, whatever. Top of the 9th, Shohei Ohtani, grand slam. Also starting for my fantasy team. Braves lose 4-0. Dodgers and the under. Let's go.
Pablo Lopez, shaky start to this season. Getting the start, has been great recently. 15-8, 3.88. Lots of strikeouts going up against Matt Boyd, the former Tiger. This AL Central battle here, I think the Twins, will get the W on the strength of Lopez. 7 innings, 13 strikeouts, 2 earned runs. And the Twins are going to come away with the victory here. I'm going to say 4-3. So it's the Twins and the under.
Absolutely love that call. 3rd game here for me. Give me the Pirates here versus the Cardinals, who are on a 3-game losing streak. Right now, they're going to be at home, the Cards. Paul Skeens pitching for the Pirates. You know how dominant he can be. I think Pirates will definitely get through here. I'm going to hammer the under. It's at a 7.5. Pittsburgh minus 135 here on the road. Give me maybe a 2-run blast by Paul Goldschmidt in the 7th. But Paul Skeens does go 7 strong here, only giving up that 2-run blast from Goldschmidt. Pirates win this one. I'm going to say 4-2. Pirates in the under, Brian. Bang. What do you got?
Padres, 3rd game, final game. Looks like they're going to be a wild card team this year, and they have Yu Darvish pitching tonight. Right now, they have a 3.5 game lead on the Diamondbacks, and I think Eric Getty going for Houston here. I think he gets hammered. I'm going to say Manny Machado, 2 home runs. Padres in a bloodbath at home. I think we'll win this game by the score of 7-3. Padres over just like that. That is your baseball frenzy. Josh B getting a chuckle by Michael. Michael, who's around for the Jets. Speaking of which, let's go to the world of the National Football League. Didn't mess up.
Jefferson climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Justin Jefferson, the catch of his life.
Fires, intercepted, picked off at a pick 6. Minka Fitzpatrick, an absolute ball hawk.
Niners twist up front and get to Tagovailoa. Bosa again. Mahomes escaping on the move, stops, spins, flips it forward for the touchdown.
Stop it.
Aaron Jones. Oh, what a tackle! Quincy Williams with a pile driver.
All right. So your New York Jets getting their first win of the season. First win for Aaron Rodgers as a starting quarterback in a game in which he goes more than 4 plays. Obviously, technically credited with that win in the opener last year against the Bills. Gets the job done here. They were down 7-0 early, 10-7 at the half. But a 4th quarter touchdown gives them a 24-17. And I think this was a game that they really had to battle out. Really could have went either way. But a late turnover by Levis there kind of sealed the deal for the Jets. And they don't give up as many rushing yards as they did to the Niners, but nevertheless, still give up 130 on the ground and a rushing touchdown by Calvin Ridley. So, I think there's some concerns on the defensive end, even though, you gave up 17 points, but it is the Titans. We know about their offense, despite having some players. I think they are hamstrung by Will Levis, quarterback and a questionable offensive line. And it was horrible to see Jermaine Johnson looks like a torn ACL. The former first-round pick led the team in sacks last season. He's out for the year, most likely. Reddick remains unsigned. I mean, a good sign, though, filling in Will McDonald, the former first-round pick who was, infamously inactive for some games last year, 3 sacks. So you hope that continues. Solomon Thomas had the other sack for the Jets. And they also, had a interception as well by Brandon Eccles. So some good and bad with the defense, but I think there will definitely be a push for Reddick to be signed. But you would think even if he was signed today, he won't be ready for the quick turnaround Thursday night against the Patriots. So that's what kind of stood out for me on defense. On offense, I mean, I think Rodgers better. You're still, I think, looking for more from the offense as a whole, but good enough to win here. Rodgers 18 for 30, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns. And you look at the receiving end of things, Garrett Wilson, 4 for 57. Breece Hall actually caught 7 passes out of the backfield. So 52 yards receiving and a score. And how about the surprise and star of the show yesterday, Braylon Allen, the rookie running back.
That was great.
Had a receiving touchdown, 2 catches, 23 yards. Also had a rushing touchdown and ran for 33 on the ground. So they run for 101. They pass for 176. So they're both outgained in the air and on the ground, but win this game because of the sacks and the turnovers. So all in all, adds up to a 20 win for the Jets. What were your takeaways from this, Tony?
Obviously, listen, at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. Brian, they got the job done. You had to win. You went into Tennessee and you got the dub. But God damn it, dude. I mean, it was definitely Jets just got off to a super slow start.
Yes.
I don't know what the deal was, what the miscues were. But there was, multiple personal fouls, multiple false or not false starts, holding penalties, delay of game penalties. I don't know what the deal was with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he was high on the field.
You really thought ayahuasca?
Maybe, dude. Because again, it looked like he did not know the play clock is wind down. And again, there would have been more.
Yeah.
But Saleh literally had to use, I think, at probably 1 timeout in the first half, 2 in the second half to avoid delay of game penalties, which is ridiculous. What are you doing? It just seemed like that the team, and again, couple that with the slow start, just seemed like the team was just not on pace. They were not going with the pace that either Saleh wanted or that Aaron Rodgers was trying to get to. And I think it's just because of lack of experience and chemistry together, which again, you would imagine would start to formulate as the season goes on. But until we see that, it's a huge problem, dude. I mean, I think the first game, they had only 3 penalties against them. Within the first quarter, they had 5 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta, any good team is going to take advantage of that. You're lucky that you were playing the Titans at this point, because again, there was just a lot of mistakes to start off with. The defense made Pollard and Levis look like all-stars. I think that first drive, Levis had, was threading the needle with some throws. I don't know. I feel like all game, Sauce Gardner was a step or 2 behind Ridley. I know Ridley's a really good receiver and stuff like that, but even Gardner was on other people too. It just seemed like the defense also had some miscues in the beginning of the game as well. I don't know if you saw that, but there were times where Gardner was trying to tell people where they should be at. It just seemed like guys didn't know where they should be on certain plays. And again, that's, it's a chemistry thing. It's just a thing of just them getting to know each other, play together, get those reps, it seems like. And I know, especially after, CJ Mosley left with, I think he had I think they're saying it's turf toe, whatever. He left the game early on. Obviously Johnson too. Some guys that didn't, already you're replacing people in the defense, guys who had gotten even less reps than your starters, So obviously they're facing these obstacles, these injuries and stuff, which is brutal. But obviously, they did pick it up here. Brees Hall looked great. You mentioned Allen as well, looking great.
Youngest player to score from scrimmage ever, I think they said, 20 years old.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I actually love that. I believe he is from Wisconsin,
He
too.
is 6'1".
So you would imagine he grew up a Packers fan. You would
Right.
imagine he watched Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Which is awesome that he did that as Michael.
Michael's special delivery.
I think so, dude. Whoa, dude.
What do we have here, Michael? Oh, from Donut In. Yeah, wow.
Oh my gosh, really?
Appreciate you, brother.
This is awesome. Thanks, Mike. On the croissant.
This is awesome. What a surprise.
The croissants, the bacon smells great, and it's definitely buttery, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude. But you got to love that story from Allen. You know, again, assuming he is an Aaron Rodgers and Packers fan, like, that's pretty sick, dude.
Yeah, so you love to see that.
You do love to see that. And then what else did I see? I think that's pretty much it, dude. I just think, like, I think that there's the more Rodgers plays. He did look more mobile than last week, but still, looks a little bit like
Yep, a little old, and it's short week. I mean,
I know short week. That's right.
Like, I mean, that's really gonna give all of us fans confidence. A solid performance here, no hiccups.
Like, I don't want to hear it, dude. All you've been saying is that your body's different. You heal differently. You're young, whatever. This is the time to prove that. But I will say, dude, Rodgers, I mean, his ball placement is still fucking dynamite, dude. I mean,
yeah, dude.
Some of his throws are literally perfectly placed, like just in terms of where the defender is and where he knows the route's going. I mean, it is very impressive. Obviously, you think of the past few quarterbacks Jets haven't had that in a while. You know, Darnold looked great. We'll get to that. And then I guess that's pretty much it, dude. Obviously, I think just next week, I mean, the Jets need to come out looking like they did in the second half. In the first half, dude.
Exactly.
You know, that's what it boils down to, I think.
And in a couple of days, we'll see that. So Thursday night football, Al Michaels riled for Jets Pats. The other local yesterday, another tough loss. This one a close one, but nevertheless a loss, and kind of a dysfunctional loss too, as the Commanders, on the strength of 7 field goals from Austin Seibert, who was signed earlier in the week after Cade York missed 2 field goals last week, went for 18 and rushed for 215 yards, 6.1 yards per carry. Absolutely gutting that Giant run defense. And, you know, on the Giant side of things, sure, Jones' offense looked better. They ran for 129. And Neighbors had a great game, 10 receptions, 127 in the score. But here we go with the Giants again. The mismanagement, no backup kicker ready with Gano nursing the injury. They can't kick field goals. They can't kick extra points. I mean, if they had a field goal kicker, because they would have been able to take the lead, instead they had to go for it on 4th down late in the game. This would probably be an overtime game, and they would have had a chance to win. Instead, they don't. They botched that, giving Jaden time to set up for Seibert's 7th field goal. They get, you know, like I said, gutted on the ground. And I think for the Giants, I mean, this is as embarrassing as it gets, just because it seemed like if you're more prepared with the kicker, you probably win this game. And then also on top of it, you know, I mean, it's a completely different game if you have some type of competitiveness against stopping the run, but 215 yards, and Daniels only had 6 incompletions, you know, ran for 44 on the ground himself, and 6.1 yards per carry. I mean, that's an embarrassing job on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously a lot of things wrong there. I mean, in this win, you know, it is kind of crazy. 7 field goals. I've never seen that in my life. No. I know the record is 9 in a game. But regardless, yeah, pretty wild. I mean, I don't know, man. I think you could expect more from both ends of the ball, honestly. Like defense, offense, Daniel Jones, I know kept it clean, but dominated on the ground. But I mean, I don't know. He could have done better.
Yeah.
You know, 16 of 28. I don't know, man. I mean, the Giants are just an absolute dumpster fire, in my opinion. They need to start the year 2-0 because their schedule gets tougher, and they're 0-2. They're garbage.
Dable's getting fired. Everybody can feel it.
I think everybody should be getting fired. Yeah, honestly, dude.
Joe Shane, the honeymoon phase is over, right?
Yeah, no, the honeymoon phase is over. Everything's over, dude. Like, it's just, there's nothing good there.
No, other than Malik Neighbors. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, 10 receptions, 127 yards, the touchdown. But like, you know, what is like his leash on the team, to be honest? You know, because if it's week 7 and they're sucking ass, he's gonna be like, this fucking sucks. I don't want to be here.
But you know how these guys are, though, even if they are doing bad. But if he's getting 100 yards and a score every game, I actually think like it won't be
real.
Like,
you don't think he'll want to be somewhere else, though?
I mean, I think it's like he just focuses his rookie year. He's just trying to like break records. I honestly think that's probably what his mindset is for the rest of this season.
But do you think he's gonna be a Giant in the next 3 years?
It depends what they do this offseason. I kind of think this is the way this season has started. It's setting up for Belichick to come in. Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it somebody else? We'll see. But
if you were them, would you bring in like a new quarterback, like a young quarterback, I should say, like draft somebody, or
do what Atlanta did?
So then have like a veteran start,
basically get
someone
Cousins.
basically get Cousins.
Let's just take our time with whoever it is.
But Cousins with a contract,
there's only so many starting quarterbacks. I mean, if someone else is available, great. Who's that going to be? We don't know yet. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, but it's definitely a mess there with the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
And just like that, it's a mess in Baltimore. And I know Tony's been waiting to talk about this. Minshew mania on the heels of Gardner Minshew, who only threw for 36 yards for the year in the first half, 240 in the second half. A gutsy 26-23 victory over the Ravens. So the Ravens 0-2, I think they said, since the first time since 2004, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, how shocking. Justin Tucker, the bugaboo on the 50-yarders continue.
Oh,
now,
my God.
1 of 7 since last season on those 50-yard attempts cost them late. And I mean, what a win for Antonio Pierce and the Raiders and Gardner Minshew. I would say probably, I know there were some other games that were surprising, but probably the most surprising result of the day by a lot.
Yeah, no, I would think, especially with the way this game started also. And obviously Minshew, again, impressive second half. I feel like if any team would blow it against the Raiders second half and succumb to Minshew mania, it would be the Ravens. We talk about them kind of taking maybe a little bit of a step back this year specifically, but I mean, man, dude, yeah, dude, Tucker is like due for a he's missing like so far. He missed one last week too, right?
Yeah, from 50. Yeah.
It seems like that's be a theme for him. Like,
yeah, like it used to be. Oh, from anywhere he can kick it. Oh, wait, not so fast.
So obviously something they have to figure out here. Lamar, again, also another quarterback who seems to be, due for an interception, I guess, every game. Got to dial that in a little bit.
13 incompletions here.
Yeah, 21 of 34. Not great. And like I said, Minshew, Devontae Adams got me probably like 25 points in fantasy. 9 receptions, 110 yards. The touchdown as well from him. Obviously, that, coming out, a statement in the second half. That was a late one, I think, from him in the fourth quarter. That's been the story of the Ravens, I feel like, for quite some time, too, blowing leads in the fourth quarter. And that was a perfect example.
And I hope, the Jets don't regret passing on Brock Bowers, just under 100 yards receiving in this one, 15 receptions, 156 yards through his first 2 games as the Raiders tight end. So
love that.
That's guy that ending,
definitely
9 catches for 98 yards yesterday. So we'll see, if the Raiders can hang in there. Before we move on here, with the Minshew angle of this, like, was the first thing you were thinking when it happened, though, is like, he's still not that great? Or were you like, well, this was a pretty impressive win?
Listen, when you have a great receiver running downfield that you could hit, which is great.
2
offensive
I
line.
think
Bowers is exactly. Using that tight end is great. And I love when teams like work in a tight end like very often. It really makes the offense, I think, pretty dynamic. And also, listen, it's one game here this year, right? Went over his stats. Does he even have a full season under his belt? 1, I think, right? Listen, it's gonna take some time. All right. Like, I'm not saying, I still think that, to me, I think it's a
flash in the pan.
Flash in the pan.
Gimmick.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. It's a gimmick, dude.
I almost texted in the group chat. He's not good, dude. It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick right now. All right, dude. We'll see what happens. It's a Raiders organization. Then you beat the Ravens.
But you have an opportunity to go 2-1 because you're playing Carolina next week. So,
of course.
And then the Browns, which, they did win yesterday.
I can't believe they won, dude.
But
was it Jacksonville, right?
Against Jacksonville.
Oh, my God. I
somebody
hate
might
that.
have called that. But I think the whole message here is that they have a chance to be competitive. So we'll see what happens. How about Sam Darnold, Tony, getting the win for Minnesota? They are 2-0, upsetting San Francisco, and I think they've won.
Let's go, baby.
At home against San Francisco like a bunch of times in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But Darnold, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Had the very impressive 97-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson, who had 4 for 133 in that score. Jalen Naylor, the rookie, also had a receiving touchdown, and they ran for 146 on the ground, including 82 from Ty Chandler. San Francisco, the dominant performance against the Jets. You would think Minnesota not as good on D. Against the Jets, they ran for like 180 yards. This one, only 102. Mason does have 100 yards for the second consecutive week, filling in for McCaffrey and a score. But nevertheless, this was a shock here. Minnesota really, just was in control this one almost the entire way. You think any concern for San Francisco here?
I mean, I don't know.
Could miss 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think the McCaffrey injury is what they were missing, to be honest. I think that's a huge blow. And I don't really understand, like, what the deal, like, why is he now missing 6 weeks when it was just like.
They just, I think, are being extra cautious. Mason's done well. They want to make sure he doesn't reactivate it. That's what I would think.
But you don't think they were like, kind of like they knew it last week and didn't really say anything?
I think also, they were hoping maybe he would recover quicker. I would think.
Because that was kind of weird to me. But again, I think that I know it's one guy, but it's a huge, huge addition to the team. That guy, he's a very dynamic player on all sides, whatever, dude. But also like Sam Darnold, I don't want to say I call this, on Friday.
Kevin O'Connell.
But, obviously Darnold has been good in the revenge spots against former teams too. You mentioned also Minnesota against the Niners at Minnesota specifically too. Kind of, I guess, a perfect storm for the upset. So you have that. Darnold did look very good. That throw to Justin Jefferson. I mean, again, I don't think we've seen a Jets quarterback have a throw that long in a long time.
It was over. I remember watching yesterday. It was over 50 yards in the air, which is a
unbelievable,
crazy throw. So congratulations to them.
Donald's looking good.
San Francisco, you would think walking the park against the Rams, who got embarrassed by the Cardinals, but then again, are they hungry? Are they tight? Do they want to get revenge? We'll see. Speaking of revenge, everyone was all over Deshaun Watson and the Browns, and while it wasn't impressive, they win in Jacksonville, 18-13. Watson throws for 186, only 5.5 yards per attempt. Does have a rushing touchdown. The defense plays well. They run for $125. Judy led the way with 5 receptions, 73 yards. Anything to take away here from Cleveland, or was it more of an indictment on Trevor Lawrence, who threw for 220 and was under 50% in terms of completions?
Yeah, I mean, what the hell is that, dude? I don't know what the deal was there. I mean, it's not like he only got sacked 3 times. Well, 3 times I guess is okay, or 4 times. But regardless, I mean, you expect way more from Trevor Lawrence. I mean, this is a huge year for him too, and the Jaguars are starting off 0-2. I think for the first time since he's been on the Jags, right?
I'm not certain.
Not certain.
Yeah.
I think I heard that. But regardless, you need more production. And like you said, 14 of 30 from your quarterback is not good at all. You're versing a team where, again, I mean, their quarterback matching up to you. I mean, it should be night and day, to be honest. I know they have a good defense, the Browns, but dang, man. I mean, you got to score more than 13 points. You got shut out in the first quarter, and it was field goal. You only scored a field goal in the first half,
Yeah.
And then 10 points second half, coming from that one touchdown, which was a rushing touchdown from Travis Etienne. So it's like, how much are you really doing for the Jags at that point? I don't know, man. That makes me really nervous, to be honest. I mean, do you think Jacksonville is like looking at Trevor Lawrence and being like, hey, maybe we should bring somebody in?
I mean, they're going to wait to see how the season plays out. Obviously, it's not the start that they want. But he's going to get this season to figure it out. So
who's their backup? Do you know?
Oh, I was just talking about this. Mac Jones.
Oh,
but yeah, no,
okay.
let Trevor play the season. Definitely. And I think he'll turn it around, but it's not good. It's been underwhelming.
You think like bring in like some old guy, make him sweat it a little bit?
No, I think he's going to turn it around, honestly. Yeah. I know it's been slower than expected, but I would say let's see how the season plays out.
All right.
I cannot believe this, but the Saints are 2-0, a thrashing, a beatdown yesterday in Dallas, 44-19. The Saints now 2-0. Alvin Kamara, 4 touchdowns yesterday. Derek Carr, 2 through the air. including a touchdown to Rashid Shaheed, who had 96 yards and a score. The Saints were looked at a team that was like, oh, Carr, Dennis Allen, mediocre city. And obviously the first one was against Carolina, but nevertheless, Tony, impressive win for this. And if you had to say, would it be more, concern here for Dallas or more impressed with what the Saints have done up to this point?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think again, culminating that the Saints are 2-0 right now, I would say that's more impressive than just the Dallas loss and being worried about that. Dallas has been known to fumble games. Dak, who does struggle with turnovers sometimes, to picks this game. I guess it doesn't come as a huge surprise. And I think, maybe Dallas thought like, hey, man, we were undefeated last year, right? At home. Saints are going to come in here and probably get mollywopped, maybe overlooked spot, didn't prep as hard or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, on top of that, I mean, Derek Carr is looking good. Even though, again, only 16 pass attempts, but still kept it consistent, kept it tight, 243 through the air. Great job. 2 touchdown passes. Obviously, Kamara right there, the 20 carries, 115 yards.
I mean, that's the key. I mean, when they've been good, Kamara has been the vocal point of the offense. 4
touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 1 from Carr through the air.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a recipe that the Cowboys defense did not have like a solution for. So obviously that's huge. You want to keep hammering Kamara. It's a huge part of your offense. And Derek Carr, I don't know, who knows, man? Maybe he's getting some more confidence. Maybe all of a sudden you see him getting 25, 30 passing attempts. And maybe he's doing well, dude. You never know. I mean, that guy, I think, has been itching for a good opportunity, good team, good culture. And he finally seems to have it. So, I mean, I'm rooting for him. I've always talked about tough kind of go at it for his career, the injuries, the Raiders organization.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So we'll see. They'll be against the Eagles next week. The Bucks, another guy you root for, Baker Mayfield, getting them to 2-0, 20-16 over the Lions. So the playoff rematch here. Lions kind of botching it down the stretch with the clock.
Yeah.
Goff, 19 or 21 incompletions in this one, 2 picks, only 5.6 yards per attempt, 55 attempts, only 307 yards through the air, good for a 36 QBR. They ran for 139. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 11 for 119, left with an injury. Shouldn't be serious. And you look at what the Bucs had on offense. I mean, nothing great, but the fact is they hung in there. They won a tough road game. And who knows? They could be in the driver's seat yet again for division crowd. It'll be definitely interesting to see what happens with their 2 matchups against New Orleans.
Oh yeah, dude. Any concern you have for Goff at all?
No, I think sometimes too it's a kind of like a NFC championship game hangover as well. That was a heartbreaker.
55 pass attempts seems pretty high, especially coming from the Lions.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe Campbell got a little too slap happy?
Down in the game, looking for the big score, and obviously had some success with St. Brown, but just not efficient enough. And I think they'll correct that.
Yeah.
And next time out, we'll see a better effort.
Also, like Campbell, the clock kerfuffles, we've seen that in the past.
Yeah.
Last year, I think, right? What the hell, man? What's the deal with that? Too much caffeine? Too jittery, you think?
I guess. I think sometimes too, I mean, you're so into the game, especially a former player.
Right.
Certain things kind of slip your mind, even though they seem obvious to us watching at home, different on the field.
Right.
So they'll be in Arizona next week, and what seemed like a cupcake victory might not be the case. They had an impressive win yesterday. Speaking of which, Marvin Harrison Jr., playing the start here, 4 receptions, 132 touchdowns, all in the first quarter, Tony. After only having 1 catch in his NFL debut, Cardinals 41-10. In a week of shocking results that was up there with any of them. Kyler Murray perfect here, 17-21, 266, 3 scores. 2 to Harrison. They ran for 231 yards on the ground. James Conner, 122 yards in the score, leading the way. So pretty impressive here. And the things, keep on getting worse for the Rams. Kupp injured. They only scored 10 points against Arizona, which, doesn't exactly have the steel curtain on defense. So between the injuries, and an 0-2 record here and a matchup with the 49ers next week, things aren't looking great for the Rams, Tony.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't think we know yet the extent of the Cup injury, but he did come out of the game, right? He was only in the first half, I think. And then obviously the Nakua injury, he'll be out for a while as well. So all of a sudden, top 2 receivers gone. Stafford not having a great time. I don't know if it's him maybe struggling finding receivers downfield, but it seemed like you could not get away from a collapsing pocket, getting sacked 5 times. And I don't know, maybe Murray watched some tape over the week of the Rams defense because, like you said, he looked phenomenal.
And then he had those comments, I want to get Harrison the ball, but it's not my job to get him the ball. When he's open, he's going to get passes, but some games he's not or whatever. He made comments like that. So almost like to set that up where he's still not going to get a lot of catches, and then he goes off for 130 in the first quarter. So kind of interesting there. But the Cards, we'll see what happens. That's shaping up to be a good game with the Lions next week. The Packers outlast the Colts 16-10. So everybody writes them off, the Jordan Love injury. And what do? They run for 261 yards on the ground, led by 151 yards on Josh Jacobs. Malik Willis doesn't do much, but didn't need to do much. 12 of 14, 122 and a score, his first win as a starting quarterback. So impressive that the Pack hang in here. And then here we are, the Colts scrambling 0-2 yet again here. Seemed like they've had a lot of slow starts in the recent years.
Yeah, dude. Which is tough. Again, Richardson, the injury last year, whatever. But again, you would imagine matched up to Malik Willis, it's, somewhat of a Colts should be winning this game. And also, I mean, you love Jonathan Taylor, who had 12 carries, 100 yards. Should they have ran the ball more? Maybe, possibly. But like you said, I mean, that's exactly what Green Bay did. I mean, Josh Jacobs, 32 carries.
Dominating time.
Kind of seems like what Taylor should have had in terms of touches and everything like that. But nonetheless, I mean, Malik Willis looked pretty solid. 12 of 14 there. You mentioned his first win as a starter, first passing touchdown as well as a starter. I know Malik Willis we had written off, just like most everybody else, but what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, impressive that he hung in there. And listen, maybe he'll be better than we think. Maybe coaching does matter. Everybody's thought LaFleur, one of the best coaches in the league.
Dude.
And also, interesting matchup in Tennessee on Sunday. So a revenge spot, the team that drafted him, the team that gave up on him. You would think he'll put his best foot forward. And the Packers might be hanging in here while Jordan Love is out. We'll see. Moving along here, Seahawks in overtime. Seems like every time they're matched up with the Patriots, you get these down-to-the-wire games. But they get the job done here, 23-20. DK Metcalf had a long touchdown. You look at the numbers here.
Classic.
Geno, it seems like the theme here is former Jet quarterbacks, 33 of 44, 327 in the score. Metcalf 129 in the score. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 12 receptions, 117. First time in franchise history, 2 receivers, at least 10 receptions, 100 yards. So that's the dynamic duo they have there. Ty Lockett kind of forgotten about, 2 for 15, but doesn't matter. Pats run for 185, but lose in a obviously the shocking victory week 1 against the Bengals, and then a short turnaround here facing the Jets. So you would think maybe that plays the Jets' advantage to go to OT in this one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But so far, the Patriots, I have to say, have been way more competitive than people thought in the early going under Gerard Mayo. And then, on the other side of things, I think Seattle at 2-0 might be better than people thought, simply because of those receivers. And I think Geno, having worked with them all for a couple of years now, is really developing some rapport there.
Yeah, dude. Geno look really good, to be honest. 33 of 44. You mentioned over 300 yards through the air. And still, remaining somewhat mobile. You know, I mean, not all the time is he getting the protection he needs, but he figured out a way to get the ball downfield. And you mentioned it. I mean, if Metcalf, Lockett, and Jigba, I mean, if he puts the ball anywhere in their vicinity, they're catching it. So obviously a great receiving core there. It should be interesting. I mean, this game was definitely closer than I thought it would be. Like you said, Patriots keeping it competitive, but I don't know, man. I mean, do you think it's the coaching right now, the culture? Because you look at Brissett, you look at the rest of the team.
I mean, Stevenson's a good back. Hunter Henry is a good tight end. You got to get on the ball. But I think the thing is here, I mean, they're playing solid defense.
Right.
It's not like they're getting torched with the scoring. So that's what's kept them in him. But they're going to need to score more to win. And also, too, it'd be interesting to see how they go about defending the Jet offense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent on that team. So that'll be an interesting matchup Thursday night. We know Michaels is riled. And moving along here, Chargers 26-3 over Carolina. So Jim Harbaugh now 2-0. J.K. Dobbins, another big game. So the former Raven duo at running back between him and Gus Edwards have done so far. Herbert didn't need to do a lot here. Also finished the game, but had accurate X-rays on his leg. So obviously the wait with bait and breath
TBD
on that one. But nevertheless, it's been an easy kind of, schedule here to start for the Chargers, but 2-0 is 2-0. So I think, if you're a Chargers fan, you're pretty excited with Harbaugh in the mix. And it's going to be a test, especially you hope Herbert's good to go, but in Pittsburgh. So going up against that defense Sunday, 1:00, should be a good one.
Yeah, I think time will tell what happens with the Chargers. You mentioned easy ones to start. I would say, 26-3, that's what you're expecting. A dominant victory. Great. Schedule next 2 weeks at hard. You mentioned Steelers in Pittsburgh, and I think they're Chiefs at home, I think. So again, those next 2 games are going to be vital in terms of seeing the ceiling right now for the Chargers and Harbaugh.
So that'll be interesting. And speaking of the Steelers, 13-6 over the Broncos. Broncos were in jeopardy of being shut out at home for the first time ever at their home stadium. But 2 fourth-quarter field goals prevent that. Steelers, not a ton off in Fields, but 2-0 is 2-0. We'll see if they go back to Russell Wilson next week. But yet again, Mike Tomlin at the helm for an impressive Steeler defense. And they picked off Bo Nix twice, sacked him twice, and ran the ball pretty effectively here. 141 yards on the ground. Field only 117 through the air, but did have that passing touchdown to Darnell Washington. I think doing more with less. Mike Tomlin continues to prove, he's one of the better coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And, Bo Nix seems to be struggling a little bit here. Interceptions. He was tight at the podium for sure. Still in like his full gear too. So, again, I think he's going to be wanting to work on some things. You'd imagine he does improve a little bit. But boy, the end of that game was kind of weird.
How they don't do the onside kick. But then they get the ball back, but barely any time left. And I guess they were saying, the odds of recovering the kick. Nonsense. You wanted just the ball, more time, clock management. And before they kicked that first field goal, they probably should have went for it because they still were down 2 scores after kicking it. But I think that was done to prevent the home shutout. I would not be surprised if that came into play.
That's so stupid, dude. What's the deal with Peyton?
I don't know. You got to have a quarterback,
right?
But yeah, it's not looking great there.
No.
We'll see if Bo Nix can grow as the season goes on. It wasn't looking great for Kansas City, but a costly turnover for Cincinnati and a flag for pass interference at the end of the game against the Bengals gives them a 26-25 victory here. Mahomes 2 picks, only throwing for 151 yards. Pacheco going to go on IR, so that's tough. Obviously, next man up there. Rashee Rice with another solid game here, 5 for 75 and a score. Joe Burrow, a lot better than week 1, 258 and 2 scores. Jamar Chase, a quiet game, 4 for 35. The dramatics, the contract, the $50 million insurance policy taken out. No extension, he says, this year. But 2 fumbles by Burrow, 1 leading to a touchdown for Kansas City. And then Harrison Butker, the 51-yarder at the horn, continuing to be one of the most clutch kickers in the National Football League here. It wasn't pretty, but somehow the Chiefs pick up another victory here.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Joe Burrow, so tight after that game. I don't know if you saw
maybe it's time to go back to his natural hair color. No?
Honestly, dude, that's just, it's not a great look. You mentioned Chase too with the contract negotiations. That doesn't sound great there. So I don't know. I think, a lot to be, decided for the Bengals. Again, this is Bengals Chiefs here. It's one of the best matchups you'll see. You mentioned Joe Burrow looking good, clean, no interceptions. 258 through the air. Obviously, having all that be not enough for the Bengals is really tough. And obviously, game-ending field goal. This is what this matchup is going to come down to, with these two teams at their best, the flag, the pass interference. I mean, like, what did you think about it?
No, it was a flag. It just was like it kind of just figured, but it was a flag. So flag's a flag. You can't commit those penalties. And you know, the Bengals have a history of getting getting out to slow starts. You know, you look at the next 2 weeks, Commanders, Panthers, maybe a tough one with the Ravens, but then you're at the Giants. So opportunities to win coming up. That'll be a Monday Night Football game against the Commanders, but a tough loss. But I'm sure they're thinking, you know, we'll get them again next time, because the Chiefs did not play a good game,
right?
You know, despite winning this one. So,
do you think these two face each other in the playoffs?
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Who do you have?
Is the building collapsing, or you think that was just something next door?
I think it was next door.
Kind of shook me a little bit, huh?
Definitely shook me a little bit too, dude.
By the way, your mother says I have to go out. Love you. Have a great day. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Mom.
And then Michael saying, if you're new, definitely follow to be notified for all things sports. Absolutely. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. You know where to go. Yanni says he thinks it's the hair coloring as well. So that's interesting. Chiefs next week, Sunday Night Football at the Falcons. Speaking of Sunday Night Football, the Texans get the W over the Bears. Again, not pretty, but 19-13. And the Texans doing just enough here. Seems like Caleb Williams still going through some growing pains for Chicago. Defense is impressive. You know, you think of what they did week 1 and then only allowed 19 to Houston. I think a lot of people had them penciled for far more here. But nevertheless, it's a win for them. It's 2-0 after making the playoffs, surprisingly, under D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud last year. Stroud, 261 score. Nico Collins, leading receiver, 8 for 135 in a score. Steph Diggs, quiet, 4 for 37. Mixon injured late in tests. They didn't run the ball effectively. Maybe that's why they didn't score as much. But nevertheless, they're 2-0. So I think they're happy where they are. The Bears 1-1. Williams has still not looked great. Obviously, growing pains, rookie season. But that's a situation to monitor. Is he going to get more comfortable as the season goes on? Great matchup, by the way, in Minnesota. Texans versus the Vikings next week. But Williams, this is going to be big next couple of games, how things go. You know, it seems like he has a lot of emotion, what we saw in college.
Oh, yeah.
You know, another couple losses stack up. Are things going to go south with Eberflus and the Bears?
It very well could be. And I think it'll be a slippery slope there with Williams. And you can tell by the way he plays, you know, like you said, a lot of emotion, sometimes maybe getting inside his head, getting antsy. I think so. Again, very tight game. They do get that. Chicago gets the touchdown at the end of the first half, I think, to make it 10-13 or something, 10-16, which is, again, that puts you right in the wheelhouse. Like, honestly, in my opinion, that's a very much a close game, you know, like with the way that first half went, to go into the locker room down by 6. I think that's phenomenal, dude. But I think Caleb Williams, I think that second half, you know, there was a bunch of punts being exchanged on these drives. Not much were working down the field. And I think Caleb Williams gets a little, like I said, antsy, because he throws 2 picks second half, which in my opinion lost the Bears the game. You got to stay composed in these tight. You're going to be in tight games. You know, you just have to, again, be patient, work your way down the field, take it one play at a time. Don't let, you know, all the noise kind of cloud your judgment and you know, what you're looking at in terms of a defense. And I think if you adjust to that, he'll be a solid quarterback. But like you said, to that point, a couple losses here, you know, interesting week 3 coming up. It could go south, I think, if he doesn't get his emotions under control.
Yeah. So it'll be an interesting situation to monitor for sure, because there is a lot of talent there in Chicago. But especially after you know what he had to do in college last year, the surprising 7-6 season at USC when they were expected to win a national title. You know, I think he really had some expectations here. They're going to be in Indy next week, so that's going to be an interesting battle. 2 young quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson and Caleb Williams. Last game of the week, the Battle of the Birds in Philly. Tony,
let's go, baby!
Philly 5.5-point home favorites here on the Falcons. You know, the Eagles with that big win against the Packers week 1. The Falcons getting off with a loss in week 1, falling to the Steelers 18-10. You think we're in for a good game tonight? I mean, obviously, if we went off what we saw week 1, you would think Philly handily at home. But for some reason, especially with TCA riding on the Eagles winning this one handily, I feel like I smell a rat. Maybe not an outright win, but potentially like Eagles winning by 3 and not the touchdown that they need.
I mean, I'd love to think that, Brian, like you said, with the TCA, but I think Cousins, prime time.
Oh, yeah.
Good Eagles defense.
Saquon
probably
Barkley 3 touchdowns.
Exactly. I think plenty of turnovers in terms of the Falcons.
Hurts,
I think
though.
Hurts
2 picks first game.
cleans it up.
Really? So no hope for us?
I think it's like
Gonna be all square yet again.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 36-7 or something, dude.
Wow. I don't think it's gonna be like that. But you know what? I'm gonna stick with what I just said. I'm gonna say the Eagles win here, late field goal by Josh Elliott at the frozen tundra of Lincoln Financial Field, 70 degrees right now. Anyway, though, I think back and forth. Eagles, maybe lead 14-10 at half, and then I think ultimately they end up winning this game. I'm going to say 34-31, so I like the over in this one. Classic Monday Night Football game. So hopefully that is the result, and then we will pull ahead in the picks. But just like that, 2 weeks will be in the books after tonight. Been an exciting 2 weeks, and really excited, Tony, to see what's yet to come.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, so many great storylines, the upsets, the quarterbacks, Baker and the boys.
The Cardinals, as Josh B says, laughing.
The
We
Cardinals.
get it. Ha ha. Lots of season left. But yeah, it's been great. Great interaction today. Seems like a lot of people with us, so we appreciate that. A lot of great shows coming up this week. We'll be back at it tomorrow, but we appreciate everybody tuning in, continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page from Michael, Renee, and Jay, and costume the merch at downtimetv.com. We want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games.
Let's go Mets!
Yankees, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.